All right, tier 10, Abattoir of Zir. Few changes to the build. We'll see how it goes. So far, what we've noticed is the glyph XP goes up significantly from tier 1 to tier 9, which we just completed. That was 3,500 glyph XP. And we also noticed that we needed to increase our defenses a bit on the build from before. So go over those changes at the end. All right. Now these cavernous maps aren't as well suited for grouping mobs up, but to the best of your ability, you try to group up big packs, then spam your puncture until you proc a bursting venoms, and then you can kind of just kill everything. It doesn't seem too dangerous in terms of survivability when we're just talking about elite packs and mobs. The Bloodseekers, though, are a different story, and I don't recommend face tanking all three of them. If there's just a couple left, you can always leave them and come back. Shrines are abundant. The shrines at the early portions of the dungeon, I recommend getting. Just grabbing them, they'll help your clear speed in most cases. Conduit feels like a drop-off at some points, but if you get a shrine towards the end of your map, you can save it for the actual dungeon boss. As we scale up and we need to deal more damage, our survivability feels fine right now, but if we need to get more damage, we have a couple of options. And that's what I'm contemplating right now, is either putting Tybalt's back on and shoring up our defenses elsewhere, meaning potentially dropping Shaco or maybe getting an all-defensive amulet. And then our other options are just breaking down and power leveling up our glyph instead of continuing to progress, just spamming these dungeons. Level up the glyph. The further you level up the glyph, the more damage we'll do, and then we could always compensate that way. But I think regardless, grouping up at some point will be necessary, or will be optimal, just for saving on like glyph dust and speed leveling your glyph. So I think after we clear this tier 10, we'll group up and run some co-op maybe, but we've just been solo from tier 1 to tier 10. So again, you just try to group everything up. Once that bursting venoms procs, you'll be doing some really good damage. And as you can see, even tier 10, we're still well ahead of the timer. And it'll just come down to the Bloodseekers. I am not using a macro. Sorry, that's a response to chat. I do not use macros. There's a reason my wrist kills me at the end of streams. Be happy to show you my my mouse and keyboard. But yeah, if you want to group up or you want to come check out our push, live streaming this. Some of the packs with, if they're, you know, endlessly CCing you, can get a little bit scary. Okay, they're done. We're towards the end here. I'm not seeing a shrine. We had a lot of shrines early. I don't know if I've seen more than 3 shrines, maybe 4 max in an Abattoir of Zir. Okay, we've got the bosses coming. See if we can't separate them a bit there. Just let them fall off. Okay, yeah, I recommend separating them. Just goes easier. They do a lot of damage. We could basically just permanently CC. And it's not too bad to face tank while unstoppable if it's just one. Okay. Maybe we let him come closer just so we don't spawn that other guy. This one's vampiric, so we really don't want to get hit by stuff if we can avoid it. But our poison will stack enough to outdo his healing. There we go. And on to the last one. Ah, a fellow rogue. So, CC lasts for 5 seconds, then they go unstoppable for 5. If you are feeling squishy, you could always just ride out the 5-second unstoppable, but that's it. Tier 10 complete. And the build. So the changes we made. We put on Might Pants with 4 out of 4 just to get that little extra defense boost. And then we also took off Condemnation. So Tip Ults and Condemnation came off. And we have Accelerating with a 4 out of 4 dagger on in place of Condemnation. Again, Might on the pants. We're still running Shaco, Disobedience, Armor, Pestilent Points, Shared Misery, Corruption, Blade Dancers on the Amulet, Bursting Venoms on the Ring, X-Falls for that AoE, Doombringer, Accelerating, Vampiric Powers, that was a Cursed Touch, Undying, Ravenous, Prey on the Weak, Flowing Veins, Combo Points. Here's our skills. Basically the standard stuff. We do spec into Siphoning Strike here. No point needed in dash, and you can still use it on your skill bar. I got this question a lot. I don't know why I have that in. Ignore that. No wonder my Smoke Grenade cooldown hasn't been working. All right. We're going Smoke Grenade. We were playing around with something. Poison Imbue, Blended. And there's that. And then the Paragon board. I will have a link. This is a slightly modified version of my Toxic Shock build. And we've got Resilience, Here we've got, it's all the same glyphs. We've got Devious, our new Tears of Blood glyph, grabbing damage to healthy there, some damage to healthy. This is until we get it upgraded to level 50, and then we're going to basically take these points out here and add them in, fill them in. Of course, this is No Witness, Efficacy, Tears of Blood, and this is on Cheap Shot. We're grabbing Cheap Shot. We're grabbing the crowd control damage. Here, we're coming up and grabbing Poison Res, Max Life, and this is so we don't need to use an Emerald, and we can instead use a Skull. Just gives us a little bit more defense. We end up grabbing this Intelligence just because I think it caps out our res. If you already have cap res without it, you don't need it, but we were running Versatility here for a bunch of res and a bunch of damage. And then, yeah, of course, this is Lirana's, right, with Versatility. And then we have the Eldritch Bounty board with Control, and we get all the Intelligence we can for Control. Come down, grab a little bit more life. And the result, even though there's a little bit of a glyph bug, so our glyphs aren't all level 21 at the moment, they'll get fixed, and we're running about 26,000 life. This is just an armor potion, so no life potion there. And we got 3,900 glyph XP from a tier 10. That's it. So those are the changes. Let me know if you have any questions, and we're going to keep pushing. I might try to work Tybalt's back in. Maybe mess around with dropping Shaco or dropping or maybe a 4 out of 4 defense amulet. We'll see. But let me know your thoughts, and I'll see you in the next one.